Camp Nano time! It's a time of the year where I'm gonna announce my project for camp, and I'm gonna pick my project, gonna figure out my goals for this month, and get to it.
You can't say you didn't see this coming. Finally got some inspiration around again.
If you haven't seen my last week's video on Camp Nano and how to approach this, if you don't know, then make sure you watch that. You know, get yourself refreshed on what Camp Nano is and what you could be working on for that project. Alright, so camp, what am I going to be working on? If you've been around and if you've watched my videos previously, then you probably know of this historical project that I've been referring to on and off over the last year or so, because it's almost been a year, which is ridiculous. You've probably heard me refer to this project as my historical romance project or my project with the princess. If you feel like you haven't heard a lot about that project, you're right, because I stopped working on it for quite some time. I have not really touched that project for like the last 6 months, so it's been a while, but we're here. I'm finally gonna get to it. That is essentially what I'm gonna be working on for camp. My historical romance project that I still call a historical romance project, even though I don't know how historical it's gonna be, but it's more or less set in the past, so I guess that is what I'm gonna refer to it as. I'm gonna figure out a name for this once I put it onto the website of camp, but yeah. So for this project, I want to be working on the revision of this project. I sometimes get confused on editing versus revising, and I've recently come to learn that apparently you can't edit, you're the one that's revising, but then if it's like an editor has looked at it and you look at it then it's probably editing, but I could be wrong. So I'm gonna be revising my historical romance novel, which, you know, is gonna be a bit of a struggle. I've done 4 drafts of this, so I have revised in the past, and since then gotten more feedback from a book coach, and I've been working with a book coach on this for like a couple months last year, and I kind of stopped working on this project with the book coaches, but also in general stopped working on this project just because I had lost a little bit of interest in it and I didn't feel very excited towards this project. I just fell out of love with it a little bit, which is very sad because I really loved this project. When I first wrote it and when I first got into it, I was like, this is amazing, I love it. It's everything that I want it to be. I've come to realize since that I am not very good with description when it comes to stories, and that is kind of where you put all of the world building stuff, and that is kind of what I don't really do a lot. So I need to be better at that. And I'm also someone that's very dialogue driven, very character driven in my writing, so it can become very much so a conversation the whole way through and not a lot of action, which makes it slow down a little bit, where there's not enough stakes and like stuff like that. So that is the things that I'm going to be putting into my novel and putting into my book during the month of April. I'm very excited to jump into my project again, but I'm also a little bit scared because it's overwhelming to try and like revise your book into something better. I've just been working on this for so long, and even though I've taken a really big break, it's daunting to kind of get back into this. It's also probably because I have 100,000 words written for this story, and I know that I'm gonna have to revise those 100,000 words, and I am not a fast reader, so I know that is gonna go slow and I'm gonna have to like revise the sentences. But before I do that, I'm gonna just have to rework the story, because there's gonna be things that are gonna be cut out of the story. There are gonna be scenes that I'm gonna have to rewrite completely, especially towards the end. There's like a couple chapters that I'm for sure gonna have to rewrite completely, like scratch and start over. So I know that this draft is gonna require a lot of work from me, and I feel like that is probably what scared me a lot. So I just need to get to it. So I figured doing Camp Nano would be a good kind of goal system for me and a good, this is what I'm gonna do, and it's like a good motivator because I want to achieve that goal. I want to say, yes, I've achieved my goal for camp. You know, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I tried and failed. Even though failure is not bad, but I'm very much someone that's like, I want to reach my goals. So, yeah. So what is that gonna look like goal-wise? I've kind of been trying to figure that out because for camp, you can obviously kind of pick your own kind of goal. So I don't know if I want to track like the words I've revised because that is kind of a tricky way of tracking it, I guess. Or if I want to track like the chapters because I have like 33 I think now, but then with the cutting of chapters I'm gonna have to do full rewrites of chapters. I don't know how many chapters I'm actually gonna get down to. So that leaves it up for like a little bit of a, I don't know if that's gonna work. So I thought of doing it with time spent towards my project, which in a way, like, I can't really calculate how much time I'm gonna need to finish this, and ideally I would want to finish my revision in April, but I just kind of want to say I'm gonna work on this for, you know, at least 30 hours in April, so that means an hour a day. Now I know that there is going to be a specific period of time where I probably won't do a lot towards this project. I will probably most likely be spending Easter with my family, which means I will be out of my apartment for a couple days, and I usually don't do a lot of author work when I'm with my family. I kind of want to spend the time with my family and not do all the other things and be kind of sort of present, but then sit in the back and do all the things on my laptop. I kind of want to be present and not do all the things when I'm there, which means I won't have an hour every single day, but that is kind of what it averages out to, which is fine because I know that in the weekends I usually spend way more time towards my author stuff, and that obviously also goes into the YouTube stuff and the podcasting stuff, and the anthology probably needs work. Like, there is a lot of stuff that still happens around me doing this project, but I think 30 hours would be doable just because I can spend more time during the weekends working on this book where I will do more than an hour, and then during the week I know that I will have some days where I won't be doing an hour of work on this because I know that I will be doing like YouTube editing or podcasting stuff. So I don't always have an hour every single day, but I kind of want to set that goal for myself because then I can make up for the hours that I don't spend during the week in the weekend, and then for Easter weekend I will just make up for that the next weekends. So I think this should be doable. At first I thought about doing half an hour, but that seemed too little. So then I was like, I need to do more than that. So I think I'm gonna pick an hour every day, and then we'll just see whatever happens. You know, ideally I want to finish my book within those 30 hours. I know that that's probably not realistic, but yeah, it's what I'm gonna set for myself, and we're gonna see how I'm gonna do. If I'm getting through this month and I'm like halfway through the month and I've already reached my 30 hours, I might increase it to 60 hours to kind of say, okay, well, you know, you've already done this much, we're just gonna crank it up and see how much like I have left of my book. Because, you know, basically the goal is just to finish my revision. I just don't know really how to track that, so we're gonna track with time spent, I guess. If you have like a better suggestion on how I can track this, let me know, because I've thought about the whole chapter thing, but then I don't really know if that is something that I want to track that way. So if I stick to my time goal, that would mean 1 hour a day, which would mean 1,800 minutes in April, which, you know, then I can calculate that with however many minutes I spend that day working towards this book. And, you know, sometimes it can be maybe 15 minutes, sometimes it can be an hour and a half, like it doesn't matter, but hopefully that will help me to really kind of dive into this project and not make excuses to not work on it. I want to finish this revision in April, which still sounds very much so overwhelming and weird and crazy for me to think about, but crazier things have happened, you know, so might as well try. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm finally gonna actually start working on this book again after 6 or 7 months. and dive into this. Luckily, I have a good community around me that are gonna support me through this process, which has been very helpful and very beneficial to me in the last couple months when I wasn't feeling great about like my writing life, my life in general. Just, I was struggling a bit. That community is so helpful for me because, yeah, they just help to get you through and help you to stay motivated, and it's just incredible. So if you're in my community stuff, you will know because I will have talked to you in like the last week probably. If you also want to be part of a community and you want to connect, let me know in the comments and tell me about maybe the project that you're going to be working on for camp. And if you have announced your project, let me know in the comments and give me like your username so we can become buddies and friends on the website, so I can follow you around and make sure I cheer you on for all the goals that you're gonna achieve. And then last but not least, I should probably announce my project. Okay. Laptop. So at the top of this website, we have the banner, which I'm gonna click on and just announce my project, I guess. I don't know what to call this. So this is the abbreviation of the title I have in mind for it. Okay, so this will be drafted. It can be public, I don't really care too much. It's a novel and it's gonna be associated with camp. So my goal is editing, I guess. I don't really have a word count goal, but I guess what I'm gonna do is write 1800 because that is gonna be the amount of minutes. This is a historical romance. I don't usually add a summary or excerpt and stuff, so we're just gonna save this. There we go. Announced it, it's there. Yeah. All right, well, that's my project announced. Let me know what you're gonna be working on for camp or in general. If you're not participating in camp, let me know what you're gonna work on in April in general, and then I can still cheer you on. I can support you, I can be happy for you, and we'll do some regular check-ins throughout April with my NaNoWrimo vlogs. Kind of returning for camp this time, so definitely stay tuned for those each week, and then I hope to see you in the next videos. Hi. For that, my phone is going off like a very professional YouTuber.